There is a lot of issues with Boku no Hero, one of which is that I feel like it's lost touch with its audience. If only there was another story set in the same universe that actually stayed grounded and more interesting. Well, I got news for you, baby. I will. Look, we all know the world of Boku no Hero. It's a pretty compelling setting, but I never found the school aspect of the story very interesting at all. In my eyes, it always put a leash on the story's creativity. And we go from like the average school life of Boku no Hero to world-ending threats. So yeah, the world building is solid. But the characters, while kind of interesting at first, they kind of start to feel vapid and hollow. Deku starts off as a grounded underdog, but by the end, he's basically a quirked up white boy of a god. The setting of Vigilante is almost identical to Boku no Hero, with one crucial difference. The school is gone, the focus shifts to a smaller, more street level group of characters. And maybe it's just the adult in me talking, but I find Koichi way more interesting, especially in comparison to Deku. Sure, Deku's simplicity makes him broadly relatable, but I feel much more of a personal connection to Koichi. He's a college kid struggling through classes, rent, and a part-time job, while moonlighting as a hero on the side. Oh my god, he's widowing me. But that doesn't stand just for Koichi. Every character introduced into this story already has some more development than their counterparts might have seen in Boku no Hero. 3 episodes in, and I understand the motivations and personalities that each of the main trio has. That's not just good pacing, it's kind of borderline genius. But let's get started into episode 1. Koichi isn't a complete loser, at least in the same way that Deku was originally portrayed. He has a quirk. Not a flashy one, not a hero level one, but a quirk nonetheless. He can essentially glide across any flat surface as long as he has 3 points of contact, making him function like a sort of bumper car. It's goofy, but it works. The episode mainly follows Koichi in his day-to-day routine, heading to work, talking about college, and coming across a crazed pop idol named Popstep. She has this bouncing quirk that she uses to pull off illegal rooftop concerts. She does this all across the city like some musical Spider-Man. She's technically a vigilante. And then he has to go to work. A miserable existence. But then, you know, he's trying to wind down. He's going out and he's starting to pick up all this rubbish, trying to help his community. Under the monicum of nice guy. Must finish last. During this conversation, they get caught up in a group of thugs. Koichi, despite having no real combat abilities, tries to defend Popstep in any possible way he can, which is essentially rubbing his shoulder up against someone. Because he's a proper nice guy after all, he'd be doing the hover hand. But he gets stomped. And then from the heavens descends our true hero, Knuckle Duster. My personal favorite character so far. He enters like an angel, an Assassin's Creed character himself, diving into a pile of garbage.
I come out, I throw trash all over the ring.
Although not a flattering landing, he absolutely fucking lays out these creeps. Like, surprisingly fast, especially because this guy looks like he's in his 60s. However, he was moved by Koichi's heart, and Knuckle Duster declares him his student and offers to teach him how to be a proper vigilante, a true hero. Now that's an opening. Knuckle Duster explains exactly what threat he is looking for. In the background and back streets of this city, an illegal drug is spreading across it, turning average civilians into violent, hulked out monsters. It's a dark element, something that you would see at the start of any story like this. Initially adds intrigue for the trio. This is street level justice with like real world consequences, or at least more real world. We also get a surprise cameo right at the end from Eraserhead. He catches our crew while they're mid interrogating some guy who is suspicious. This episode does a lot of really good things. Solid character introductions that don't take up the entire episode. We meet Koichi, aka Nice Guy, Popstep, and Knuckle Duster. All 3 feel like developed and distinct individuals. It establishes stakes. It shows that our characters aren't even fully capable of defending themselves from a group of low-level gang members. Koichi isn't trying to be the #1 hero or anything even close to it. He's just a broke college kid with a part-time job who's using his quirk to do what he can when he can. And the tone and setting isn't artificially like shot up into the atmosphere. It takes place in a city. We all know what a city looks like. It doesn't take place in places like, I don't know, a heroic stadium tournament. It's a grim alleyway fight. And honestly, it just makes it all the more relatable and compelling. Episode 2 starts with Knuckle Duster squaring off against Eraserhead. Eraserhead saw him assault a man, for God's sake, so yeah, he's taking action. So the two of them go toe to toe, and the fight is honestly close, and it really shouldn't be. Eraserhead is really surprised as to why his power, which disables quirks, isn't working on this man. And it turns out it's because he just doesn't fucking have one. He is just this insane and strong. This old man is quirkless. And it's raised an interesting what-if scenario. This could have been Deku or Itadori if he wasn't handed god-tier powers by the strongest hero in the world. This is just a guy throwing hands because he believes it's the right thing to do. As their seniors are punching each other in the face, Koichi and Popstep put two and two together and realize that the man Knuckle Duster was interrogating is actually a known drug dealer of the drug. Razorhead realizes that Knuckle Duster isn't using a quirk and technically hasn't broken any laws, at least none he can stick. So in his own typical way, he just walks away muttering some grumpy old shit to himself. He's not here to, I don't know, do his fucking job or something. The gang from episode 1 returns. Only this time, they are on Trigger. You know, the one that turns people into massive rage monsters suddenly, and their eyes target Koichi. And it looks like he's seconds away from being completely pancaked. Cue Knuckle Duster, not flying in like Superman or teleporting in like someone else, I don't fucking know. He simply just runs up behind the guy with a brick in hand and smashes it across the back of the guy's head. As our two vigilantes take off to try to save Popstep, Eraserhead actually starts doing his job and ties up the man that Knuckle Duster incapacitated. Eventually they corner the dealer himself, and of course the guy injects himself with Trigger, turning himself into a kaiju-sized monster. It's not pretty. Knuckle Duster gets slammed into a billboard like a sack of potatoes, and Popstep does what she can, but it's not enough, and she's falling, seemingly, to her death. Koichi throws himself in front of Popstep, using his ability to shoot up a wall and jump from it, fully prepared to take the hit. It's not glamorous or tragic, it's instinctive. It's a panicked and terrified reaction. It's not heroic. Fortunately, anime logic does still stand and kick in, and a conveniently placed hand and bag of trash cushion his fall. This is plot armor, but you know, we're going to allow it. I honestly don't mind. Eventually, Eraserhead does wrap up the whole fight though, and in a couple of seconds. He just looks at the guy and he crumples back to his original form. You know, kind of displaying that, yeah, he's a pro hero. He's able to deal with situations like this. He's not a college student and a retiree. And that's more or less where the end of the second episode ends. This episode genuinely is really quite good. It mainly displays two things, right? This shows that Koichi not only really wants to be a hero, he really is capable of doing it. His moment of instinctual bravery hints at future development. He's still scared, he's still weak, but he's trying. He's struggling, and that is compelling. And the next is that the heroes are out of depth. Eraserhead's role in this episode isn't really just as a cameo. He's the line between our vigilantes and the pro heroes. They're not saving the world. They're bravely trying to protect something that they care about. Sure, they're bravely going out there and trying to stop this drug, but they're all doing it for their own reasons. Eraserhead is a professional. He works at a higher capacity than these people do. And I feel like this fight was designed to show us that this story is going to remain more grounded. Episode 3. Koichi's having a normal ass day. Yippee, good for him. He's walking home from college, probably thinking about rent, assignments, or whatever ramen he's gonna have for dinner because he's a student. Sees his apartment window smashed in and an old geezer, who turns out to be Knuckle Duster, drinking his beer and eating his food. Before he can recover from the whiplash of seeing this, gets another visitor, someone he doesn't recognize. Turns out it's Popstep. She's in a school uniform, which makes her maybe 13 years old. It's a little creepy if you ask me, but hey. And he doesn't even really get a break. He doesn't get to sit down and relax for 2 minutes because, well, he has to go straight off to work. But when the shift of gears comes in the episode is when the first threat arises. An obsessed fan of Popstep, the type of guy who is just infatuated with parasocial relationships, and under the influence of Trigger, he hulks out and begins a full-blown pursuit. The fight that follows is more creative than you'd expect. He's slimy, literally, so they can't pin him down. He slips through their grasp like a bar of soap in the bath. So the gang takes a different approach. They coat him in flour from a nearby bakery so that they can absolutely pound him into the dirt. After the stalker is subdued, not killed, we get a peek into what the season's long-term plot is going to be. We don't learn much yet. Things are quickly falling into place. This isn't just a series of one-off scuffles anymore, or at least it won't be. It's becoming a full arc with true villains and conspiracies. This shows us what Boku no Hero could have been. Not that that's necessarily worse or better, all up to your own opinion, but for me, the idea of classroom setting, tournament arcs, I've seen it all before. We get something smaller, grittier, and more human. That might sound like a dig to Deku. Well, and okay, it just is. But more than that, it's praise for Koichi. He's not destined for greatness. He's not the chosen one. He doesn't have the best hero of all time guiding his every step. He's just a decent fucking lad, doing his best. And honestly, that's way more compelling. He's broke, he's overworked, he's in college. I keep saying these things because they're so integral to why I believe the tone of this story is better than Boku no Heroes. Is it perfect? No, there's so many things to not like about this show. There's still some pacing quirks, and the animation isn't top tier, but it's basically as good as what we've seen from Boku no Hero. It's a product from Boku no Hero that punches way above its weight class. In its own grounded way, it is so much more heroic. So hey, this is my new flavor of the 3-episode rule, something I've been doing for a while. It just doesn't package very well on YouTube. So if you want to see this 3-episode rule video, go have a look and see the differences. I appreciate you.